what's up, everybody? Welcome to Breaking the Fourth Wall, another great show with another great thing. I want to introduce you to my congregation. I am your pastor, Chris Wylde. And with me, as always, is the town sinner, Dan Lauria.
Hey, wait a minute. I just realized what you said.
You're the bad one.
Take two. Move on, sir. Move on.
Very well. We have our Ned Flanders of the congregation, Christen Stovell.
Oakley dokley.
We have brand new to the panel of Breaking the Fourth Wall, the town whore, Charles Britto.
I resent that. I cover a whole metropolitan area.
Oh, okay, well. Look at that. He like like herpes, he just spreads.
Oh, God.
And also welcoming to the group for the first time, actually, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong here, but first time on any podcast, Miss Niki, I'm sorry, I forget your last name. Martensen. Miss Niki Martensen.
Although I'm sorry I forget your last name would be a really interesting last name. I think that should actually be a character in Academy Earth.
I'll tell you what, I'm actually...
I forget the last name. That is my last name. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. You can also just call me Nicole. Niki's a bit of a stretch for most people, so Nicole's fine.
Okay, well, I was going to use... we had this conversation a couple days ago between Charles, Dan, and myself, and I think it was actually Sunday, and I was schooled on the correct pronunciation of your name, so I wanted to actually use the correct pronunciation of your name.
Well, congratulations. You're just an E for effort.
Yay! It's not the first E I ever got, and usually I got smacked for it. Yes, kids, I'm that old. There was an E before there was an F. It's also in the alphabet, but these people won't know. Guys, exciting news happened today. First off, Eminem's an asshole. On to other bigger news. The only news that matters. Monday night, during the sleeper of a football game, and it really was a sleeper. Like, I could have, if I wasn't DJing, I would have slept through that.
I always sleep through football.
Yeah, but this was the absolute most boring game I have ever seen in my life, and, you know, I've watched the Eagles play for 40 years. Hey, I'm a fan. I'm an Eagles fan, but I can speak the truth. I can speak the truth.
They're 4-1 going into tomorrow's game, which actually won't pass by the time everybody hears this.
That's true. Hopefully they'll be 5-1. Actually, it's kind of funny to stay away from politics. I've been kind of boycotting the NFL because of personal reasons this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is going to be the year the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Why? Because I'm not fucking watching.
Exactly. They were waiting just for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but during the halftime show, there was a very important thing that had happened. Life-changing. Altering to the extreme. We finally got the official first trailer to Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yeah, you're not a Star Trek fan or anything, or a Star Wars fan, I'm sorry.
Cue the church angels singing choir. Guys, have you had a chance to check out the trailer?
I have. I have amazing.
Uh-oh, somebody has not.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm sorry. I was driving all day yesterday.
Oh, well. Now, see, what I may have to do on the YouTube channel is hit pause right here and play that trailer in its entirety, and then come back to the show and get thoughts then. No, but besides Nicole, has anybody else seen the trailer yet? Which I know Charles and Dan have. I'm just getting it for confirmation for RadioCast.
I've seen it.
All right, Christen, I'll start with you. What did you think?
I think it looks pretty good. I haven't quite gotten attached to the new characters yet, so, there's always that level of, okay, we'll see. But I got more excited seeing this trailer than I did seeing any of the trailers for Force Awakens. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopeful that I will enjoy it more than I enjoyed Force Awakens.
That's true, because if memory serves, you didn't really care for Force Awakens all too much.
Didn't, no.
Blasphemous.
I had trouble. I know, I'm terrible. Terrible person. I accept it. I've come to peace with it.
It's okay, as long as you came to peace with it. Dan.
I did.
Dan, what did you think of the trailer?
Well, first of all, let me backtrack a little bit and say that I found what are they called? What you watched the trailer? What's that called when you watch somebody watch something?
Oh, the reaction videos.
Yes, the reaction. The reaction on your face. The reaction while you were watching the trailer was priceless. I'm like, see, I don't even care about the trailer now because just his reaction was enough for me. But
Hey, there's a moment where his head jerked back and his mouth fell open. That was my favorite part.
My mouth fell open and exposed my triple chin. Yeah, we know.
You look like a little boy seeing something for the first time.
and just like the very end scene, like I thought he was going to fall down. I thought I was going to have to drive over to his house, pick him back up again.
What am I, a freaking turtle who fell on his back? Help me!
Alright. I actually have a lot to say about the trailer, so...
Wait a minute, guys. Guys, hold on. For a split second, I want you to let that sink in. Mr. Dan Lauria has a lot to say.
No way.
Why do you think I'm on so many shows?
That's it, we record 2 shows in one night. Not because with time frames, it's just simple to let him continue speaking from one to the other.
So
Get it all out of his
part
system
2 on it.
tonight.
So this is the official word that we're going into part 2.
Well, now, wait, here's the good news, okay? Because everybody but Christen is going to be part of Academy Earth, the play, the radio play, as soon as we get started on it. And Kristen's promised me that she would become a part of it when she's finished writing her book. Okay?
At the very least, I will do recurring guest appearances.
There you go.
Link to this book, by the way, Kristen. I want to see it.
What?
I want to see a link to your writing. I'm really interested.
Oh, awesome. Well, I will make sure that I put it in the conversation.
Woo! All right. Well done.
Order the book, even I liked it. I even did a review on it the other night.
Yes, you did.
I really liked that review. It was a nice review.
And the way you presented it, like, I knew because I've known you forever, so I knew you were going to give her a good review, but I wasn't sure if she was sure just by the way you kept on, and after this commercial, we're going to have the review. Wait, what commercial? What are you talking about?
Dan, you need to understand.
American Idol?
Dan, you need to understand before you came into Realm of the Mist, when you were still working with Cruising 92.1 and all that, and
right.
I had first gotten a hold of the book from Christen. I had been torturing her forever about giving a review, but I refused to even give an inkling of what I thought of the book as I was reading it. Like, nope, you gotta wait for the review.
Yeah.
Nope, you gotta wait for the review.
Yeah, because you're kind of evil like that.
Well, I have ever heard someone do, and I appreciate it as much as I resent it.
Actually, that's my next question.
I didn't appreciate the
Chris, knowing that Nicole has also written a book, what are you going to do to torture her? Because she's the newest one in the group. I know you.
She's got to get me a copy of her book. I'll happily read it.
No, I know you happily read it. What are you going to do to torture her in between, though? Because I know how you are.
Well, I would first have to learn what would torture her. Kristen, I knew was biting a tooth and nail to find out what her friends thought of her book.
Okay.
Okay. I wish you luck in
find out what
your
torture
search.
means.
Let's
If
know
that's
how that
something
works out for you.
I get the feeling any torture to Nicole would just simply, wind up in my suffering.
All I'm saying is don't go threatening me with a good time. I mean, that sounds like too much fun.
Whips and chains and cuffs, oh my. Okay, like Kylo Ren, let's get ourselves out of the dark side and into the light. Dan.
Hey, just so we're clear, I'm not the one who started that.
Yes, but like my normal relationships, I was finished before everybody else. Let's go.
Oh my God. Okay. Well then.
All right, so to reel it back in.
That's what she said.
Which I have a feeling, being the narrator for Academy Earth, I'm going to be saying that a lot with you guys. To reel it back in,
Just remember, it's canon.
I thought there was a lot of. See, I'm wondering, and maybe it's just my South Philly Italian paranoia, I don't know. I'm wondering if there's a lot of bait and switch going on with that trailer, okay? Because it looked like, we're doing spoilers here, right?
By now everybody's seen the trailer, yeah.
Okay. It looked like Ren was about to kill his mother in that one scene, okay?
Yep.
But if you noticed, he never actually pulled the trigger.
Right.
So
Well, that looks like something to get butts in the seats. As if they need that for Star Wars.
What's that?
I said that kind of looked like something to get butts in the seats, as if they need that for Star Wars.
Yeah, right. And you know how they switch cut scenes around, they not being Star Wars in general, but Hollywood in general, where you think you're looking at one thing, and then when in the actual movie you realize, okay, they were two completely different scenes. But they edited them so it looked like he was getting ready to shoot her. And don't get me wrong, I love Carrie Fisher. She was a Philly girl, and Chris, you know how I am about anybody from Pennsylvania. I follow NFL people from Pennsylvania, actors and singers from Pennsylvania. I still actually make apologies for Taylor Swift because she's originally from Pennsylvania. So what I'm about to say is going to sound a little harsh, and I apologize ahead of time, but when I saw that scene, I'm like, oh, that's how they're explaining Carrie Fisher's death. Okay. So
I mean, it's a possibility.
I thought of that too. Yeah, that's one way, and then they can do it really early when they run out of, scenes for her, and that ends up really nice and tidy.
Well, see that brings up a very interesting point that we'll probably get into later after I get everybody's initial reactions to the promotion itself. But we know Carrie passed away, and it's been a long debate, unfortunately, as to what they're going to do with the character of Princess Leia. Because we pretty much know that she was planned originally to be in Episode 9.
right.
Did they cut things around to where Kylo would kill her off in this movie? Are they going to have something happen in between 8 and 9 that was just off a screen? Are they going to recast? Obviously, one of the things that was debunked.
Though. It actually.
I think they've announced they are not recasting.
Well, they also announced that they weren't going to CGI like they did with Tarkin and young Leia with Rogue
Yeah.
One. So.
But it actually works for me because it seems logical enough to kill his father and to really break away and go into the dark side. It seems obvious he'd want to kill his mother too, just to the whole thing. You know, if he finds cousins and uncles and all that, he'll go after them. So this will probably be that kind of movie, going out killing people.
Oh, more than likely.
I'd actually say
No, but seriously, the fact that he did kill his father is next. It would seem logical. The next thing he'd want to do is kill his mother too.
Right.
It would be logical unless
far-fetched.
it would be logical unless they did have any types of hopes of redeeming Kylo in any way. Let's face it, to a lot of Star Wars fans, Kylo Ren is no longer redeemable simply for killing the most beloved character in science fiction fantasy history.
Right.
You know, even
Robbie
though...
the robot?
Yeah, there was a lot of outrage for the death of Han Solo. So to a lot of fans' minds, Kylo's no longer redeemable. He may as well married Jar Jar Binks and gave birth to midichlorians. He's hated that much by Star Wars fans. You know, but
well, he's also not a well presented character at this point.
No, it'll be like, dude, we've been through this before. She's your sister. Okay.
oh, I'll get into that one later. But
now I hear banjos playing in the background. I'm just saying.
But
who let somebody in from Kentucky?
I need someone to train you. To train me. Yeah, really. Okay.
Oh, God.
I need to know where I fit in this world. Hold on, let me drop my drawers.
Oh yeah, okay.
Here's a pecking
First
order.
of all, we got to talk about a family tradition. Yeah, that's right. Come closer.
Oh.
Oh my God.
She really back there. The other thing that I thought might have been a red herring, or it's funny, we've already started talking about this, redemption. When it looks like Rey goes to Ren and says, I need somebody to teach me. And it looks like he's putting out his hand for her. And Chris, that's when you lost your your mind.
Yeah, she said she needed someone to tell her her place in all of that.
Yeah.
There's
Now,
a connection between those two.
here's my question to the panel, Chris, if you don't mind me asking.
I don't care.
Because George Lucas has said on more than one occasion that each cycle of 3 movies you can follow to the point where, okay, if it happens here in 4, it happened in 1, it's going to happen in 7. If it happens in 5, it's going to happen in 2, it's going to happen in 8. I don't know about 2, because 3 seemed like it was worse, but definitely in 5, and I'm guessing in 8, it looked like there was no hope. Not new hope, no hope. And I'm wondering if it looks like Ren and Rey have turned to the dark side completely by the end of 8, and then you find out that no, both of them are going to be redeemed the same way that Luke Skywalker eventually redeemed his father. So if we're talking about, Star Wars doing things in cycles, and I'm going to ask this to, the entire panel, do you think that they're both going to the dark side, or do you think this is a setup for both of them to be redeemed?
I think either.
I honestly think both of them are going to be redeemed. That's what I think.
You think both are going to be redeemed?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Rey's going to go dark. I think if she was going to go dark, they wouldn't have shown that in the trailer. I think that was a big misdirection. I think that Kylo Ren will be redeemed, just from the way they've set up the other trilogies. I think he will be. I personally ascribe to the theory that Ren is a Kenobi, or not Rey is a Kenobi. Sorry. Too many names are too similar. I personally think that Rey's a Kenobi because we have seen a Kenobi in both of the other trilogies, and we haven't seen one in this one yet.
Well,
That we know of.
I think both are going to be redeemed is, for one thing, look at Rey's name. It's Rey, like a ray of light, the ray of a new dawn, or even mathematically speaking, a ray. It starts at an origin point and it goes forward and only forward, never back.
The more you know. Ban, dan, dan.
So, I just think that there's that element of, a nice motif going on top of it. And, throughout the story, especially the first Star Wars movies, you see a descent into darkness and some sort of, waddling into it, with the fall of the Empire and the fall of the Federation, I believe, and the rise of the Empire.
The Republic. The fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
The Federation is Star Trek.
No problem. You gave me a second to feel smart, so it's okay.
Okay. Okay. So, it's a whole sort of descent into darkness story, and it would make sense if it gets brought back to that ground zero, that life point, where there is only, the Force and nothing else. Because there's a theme that's going on here, like the restoration of faith, the restoration of the Jedi, the restoration of the Force and this sort of justice, karma, and the cosmos and the universe. And I think that they're honestly going to go in that direction. That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, I think...
Sorry, go ahead.
I agree. I think that redemption will happen. That's been a pretty common theme.
Charles?
But at the same time,
We haven't heard from Charles.
Yeah, well, I don't know. If we fall into the same cycle, then I think both will turn for the second movie and then redeem themselves in the third, the next installment. But what would be a nice turn, and it would work for the clip that we saw, would be that when she's asking for him to train her, he's already turned over to the good side, and she's just asking him to join her in fighting the dark side. There you go. That's right there. So the goal could be anything. It could be her asking to join the dark side, or it could be her asking him to train her now that he's redeemed himself in that second movie, and that would kind of throw everybody off, because then the third movie would basically both of them trying to fight the dark side and end it for once and for all. Both sides sound very intriguing. The first side, would be the obvious. They both turn, they both redeem in the third movie. I would prefer to see them redeem now, and then gather the whole thing about gathering the good against the evil in the third one, than to have this back and forth thing. So either one works for me. I'm ready.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like 5 seconds out of context, so it could be anything.
Yeah, it could be anything.
I do agree. A lot of people.
All movies end on a positive note. So I'm sorry. I said all the movies, all the three trilogies, always end in a good way. So
Revenge of the Sith ended in a good way. Order 66, Vader in the suit, and the Empire now ruling.
Well, we needed a change. Yeah.
It was a purge. We needed a purge.
Frankly, I was getting tired of paying 6 credits for CBS Access. So, yeah. Okay. The Empire promised free TVs, and that's what I went with. So, okay.
Well, look,
that's what they get to every time.
Well, look, I look at it like this. The Last Jedi does have everything going in its favor. A very successful first film with the Force Awakens. Even though Christen herself didn't like it, it is the second highest grossing movie of all time. Commercially, it is a huge success. Second only to Avatar internationally. But
well, of course, because they're blue, you're never going to get over a blue alien.
Because you can never get blue on a white vinyl.
Exactly.
But
you got it before I did, Red.
and the fact that we have Rian Johnson in this movie, directing this movie, and Ryan has had huge success with Looper and stuff of that nature. He's an accomplished director. And when you look at everything that's been going on in Lucasfilm as of the point, Rogue One had all the reshoots that had everybody worried, even though it came out to be a great movie. Han Solo, they had to turn around and pretty much scrap it and have Ron Howard come in and redo it. They've already got issues with getting with their director for Episode 9, and now J.J. Abrams is taking over the directing role to finish this trilogy. I mean, there's been a lot of issues. Except when it comes to The Last Jedi, everything has happened exactly as Ryan had wanted. He finished and wrapped production ahead of schedule. The movie's in the can. It's ready to release.
Wow.
It's waiting. It's waiting for December 15th, but it's in the can and waiting to release. So, but the one thing I will say that this movie desperately needs, and it will get people back on track with Star Wars, all the haters of The Force Awakens, all the haters of the prequels, because Star Wars has been missing one element, and this is the movie to do it in. We need an I am your father moment. We need that no, understand, we need that shock moment when you walk out of there going, I can't believe they did that.
I was just picturing telling someone that to Ray, I am your father.
Well, see, that's where I was leading
Maybe
into.
they're gonna update it for the times and say, "Who's your daddy?" instead.
Listen, we don't know who your father is, but
No.
You just have Maury come down and go, you are not the father.
That was the joke. That was the joke I was about to say on Octu. Mari's going to show up looking at Luke. But
she is not your daughter.
but no, I do think Kylo will be redeemed, and I do honestly think that Rey will turn to the dark side. But here's my theory on Rey's parentage. Before, I had always stated that she's a Skywalker and a Kenobi. I've always said that the backstory would be that Luke, during his travels and building the Jedi Order and everything else, would stumble across the the daughter of Obi-Wan and Satine from the Clone Wars. That there was a sordid love affair between those two in the Clone Wars TV show.
It canonically has a love interest.
Yeah. So my thought would be that Rey would turn out to be the granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi and the daughter of Luke Skywalker. But I've had a change of heart in that theory. I have had it, and I had it this week. Because while I was thinking about the trailer, and I was thinking about The Force Awakens, and I realized that scene in Maz Kanata's castle where Maz pulls out the lightsaber, which called to Rey. Anakin's lightsaber called to Rey, right? This is before canon-wise we knew that kyber crystals even had souls or anything else and chose their Jedi like wands in Harry Potter. It called to Rey. So automatically it knows it's where it belongs, right? So I'm like, wait a minute. That was Anakin's lightsaber until Anakin turned to the dark side and was removed from him because the crystal is still uncorrupted. It does not go with evil. So the last known owner of it was Luke Skywalker. And when Luke had his hand cut off and that lightsaber fell to the depths of Bespin, we have no idea how Maz got a hold of it. And, she had turned around in the castle and said, when Han said, where did you get that? And she had said, it's a great story for another time. It got me thinking, of course, along with the meme jokes, too, of when they show her handing the lightsaber to Luke, and Luke has that forlorn look on his face, and the meme on Facebook would be like, there was a hand with that. Did you find the hand, too? It got me thinking about it. I'm like, what if the way Maz got that lightsaber is because somebody, somewhere down the line, I don't know who, I don't know if it was the Empire, the First Order, or something like that, used DNA processing and cloned or made a type of clone of Luke Skywalker. And if that be the case, what if that clone was Rey? So in technicality, she's not the daughter of Luke Skywalker. She is Luke Skywalker.
I don't think so. Because Luke Skywalker...
I agree. I don't think that's it.
Yeah. No, I think she would have found the Force or had indication of having some sort of Jedi powers much earlier in life if that was the case. Simply because the father of
what was that?
Luke was... I have no idea.
Sorry.
Simply because the Skywalker line by that point had such a high midi-chlorian count. And they're very, very favored by the Force, so to speak. So I think Rey would have had a manifestation much, much earlier in life instead of struggling the way she is now, or has been at the beginning.
Okay.
You know, that's just my...
Okay,
I don't think she's gifted.
I'm sorry, you broke up on that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I just said I don't think she's gifted enough, basically.
Okay. Again, it was something I was thinking about, and it's like, you know, a lot of the misconceptions that we took in The Force Awakens would be that, you know, Han or Leia gave some sort of recognition to Rey. What if it wasn't recognition and more like, this seems familiar?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really... The Rey as a female clone seems like you'd have a ton of exposition and explanation to make, like, to have to fit into a movie.
I think it would make a lot more sense if Rey was just considered like a spiritual successor to Luke Skywalker. You know, that would be different because then you don't have the whole blood relation or cloning to go with it. Because, like you said, kyber crystals are similar in effect to wands in Harry Potter. You know, the wand chooses the wizard, the crystal calls out to the Jedi. It would make a lot more sense if spiritually she was just inclined towards the light side, the good.
Okay, but the reason...
Can I just point out that if Rey is a clone of Luke, and Ren is getting ready to train Rey, and Ren and Rey wind up like Luke and Leia at the point when they didn't know they were brother and sister, then we're going to get all kinds of Game of Thrones with Jon Snow and Daenerys being, you know, aunt and nephew if they hook up, because, no.
Well, let's remember, Lucasfilm is owned by Disney now. I really don't think we're going to get a Daenerys and Jon Snow type scenario with Rey and Kylo.
We're going to end up with that. I still think they're going to in some way pull a Kenobi, and I think that there's still a connection.
Well, the biggest thing that led me towards that too, if I may, is the comments from Daisy Ridley herself, in stating as far as the parentage of Rey, she feels that it was already given to you in The Force Awakens, like it was obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, you know, being a Star Wars geek whose life has revolved around, you know, Star Wars. Maybe I missed it, but either she's a Skywalker or, like I said, a Skywalker Kenobi, or the only other thing that makes sense to me, and it would also fit in with the holy shit moment of you know, like Empire Strikes Back, I am your father, is it turns out and she's something that, like, nobody had seen coming.
Maybe. I don't know. I hope that they don't go the super obvious route and make her Skywalker. I feel like that's just I'm echoing really bad and starting off.
Yeah, I noticed you're all of a sudden getting an echo to you.
You've all forgotten one little part, though.
Well, wait a minute. While she's echoing, say, Luke, I am your father.
Misconception. He does not say, Luke, I am your father. He says, no, I am your father.
I know, but I was just going through the funny. All right, so, but here's my question to everybody. At one point in the trailer, Luke says, I've seen that type of power before, and it didn't bother me, or I didn't let it bother me. Now I'm seeing it again, and it's definitely bothering me. My question is, how many actual Jedi Knights has he seen? He's seen Yoda, he's seen Obi-Wan, he's seen his father, he's seen the Emperor. He's only limited to 4, correct? Am I missing somebody?
You're missing his whole entire Jedi Order.
He was referring to Kylo.
No, but Luke's never seen the entire Jedi Order. Luke only came into it when Obi-Wan started training him. So
no,
when
what
did
I'm
he
saying,
see anybody else?
What I'm saying is what you're forgetting is that he was training the next generation of Jedi until Kylo turned bad and destroyed his academy. So he had seen other powerful Force users that he was training. Now, the deal that I think the trailer is supposed to be emphasizing on you is that he's referring to Kylo and how powerful Ben Solo was.
Right.
And it didn't scare him as much as Rey being just as powerful scares him now. Which, by the way, is the one thing that bothers me in the whole entire trailer. I mean, it builds the suspense, it builds the emphasis, but Luke's a freaking Jedi master. Jedis do not fear. He's scared to death.
Right. And that bothered me, too.
That kind of bothers me. You know, because that seems out of character for the character.
Right.
But at the same time, it does put an emphasis on, holy shit, you're that strong.
Oh, I don't think it's out of character at all. The Skywalkers have shown a habit of not being able to set their emotions aside.
But Luke did at the end of Jedi
Yeah,
when he was at the point to kill Vader, and then he stopped, threw his lightsaber away, and told the Emperor, you know, I am now a Jedi like my father before me. Luke learned how to break that cycle.
Yeah, I mean, Luke is
turned a blind eye to Kylo.
True.
Like so I think the Skywalkers have some issues when it comes to. I think with the great power, it probably is even more difficult to control those things.
With great power comes great responsibility. Oh wait.
Wrong franchise.
Sorry.
But no, you know, the thing is that the saga episodes, you know, not the spin-offs, but the saga episodes, the story has promised to always revolve around the Skywalker lineage. Whether it be Luke, whether it be Kylo, whether it be Anakin, whether it be, and I'm putting this in quotations, Rey. It's always going to be, there's always going to be a Skywalker center stage of the story. Or at least a lineage of the Skywalkers. Now, if they don't redeem Kylo, which again, you know, in some arguments, in some circles, Kylo is non-redeemable. You can't have him be the Skywalker that the story revolves around, because in the end, you're gonna wind up killing him. And if you wind up killing him, that's the end of the Skywalkers.
So you don't think Ren and Rey are eventually going to team up to go up against Snoke?
I believe I see. It's so hard. It's so hard of a red herring. I believe Rey's going to turn to the dark side. I really do. I think that's going to be one of your holy shit moments. But I think Kylo's going to turn light. I think Kylo reaching his hand out is to Luke.
But I think we don't have enough information to really. I think that there is going to be a holy shit moment. I think that they put a lot of stuff in there to give birth to a ton of different theories and throw everyone off of what's happening.
The one thing's for certain is I'm expecting to walk out of The Last Jedi going, wow. I really did not expect that.
Yeah. To have that Empire Strikes Back moment.
I mean, will it be as good as Empire? Nothing will ever be as good as Empire. But I expect to walk out of it going, wow, I really didn't see that coming.
Well, what can we take off the table? Obviously, Luke and Leia were twins. Can we take off the table that Rey and Ren aren't brother and sister?
No, I really don't think we can.
No, I don't think we can take anything off the table at this
What if we find out that Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo, isn't actually a Solo? What if he and Rey are both twin children? I'm just spitballing here, so don't take this as theory. But what if it turns out that Rey and Kylo are twin siblings of Luke's, and Luke did what the Jedi Order did with Luke and Leia and separated them?
Right.
So then there's a Mrs. Luke somewhere?
Well, what if Rey is a Kenobi and Kylo gets redeemed and those two end up together, thus continuing the Skywalker line and melting the Skywalker Kenobi line?
Well, we're pretty sure there's going to be an episode 10, 11, and 12. At this point, we don't know, because we don't know what 9's going to be and all that. We don't know what point of the future or whatever 10, 11, and 12 are going to be. Will they take a break, and then when they come back to it, it's the next generation of the Star Wars, universe, or whatever the case may be. We don't really know, speculative-wise.
Right.
So, Kristen's idea may be a good idea. But the end result is, right now, without knowing what's going to happen in Episode 9, and we have really one of the greatest things about this trailer was it gave us a whole lot of yay with nothing in the way of spoilage.
Exactly.
All right, well,
It was a whole lot of tasty treats with nothing that actually filled us up.
let's break it down for a minute. And I'm crap for names, so one of you guys is going to have to help me with this. The name of the character that Liam Neeson played.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay. So we haven't seen anybody from anything about him or his family since the first episode. So for her to be related to him, that would be a bit of a stretch, correct?
Well, there's kind of a theory around, especially because she kind of is now sporting the same hairstyle that Liam sported in The Phantom Menace. I don't buy it, though. I think Qui-Gon Jinn's character was very prim and proper Jedi Order of the day.
Actually, he got in trouble with the Jedi Order quite a bit.
Right, but I don't see him breaking the sacred vows of getting married and procreating. Remember in the original, in the Old Republic, Jedis just did not do that. That was one of the things that allowed Anakin to turn to the dark side, is he broke that vow.
Well, but canonically, George Lucas has said, because I don't know if Disney has kept it, but George Lucas has said it was a rule against attachment. They could actually sleep with people.
Right, they could have sex, they just couldn't fall in love.
Yeah. So he could have fathered a child. We don't know.
So it's okay to make Jedi babies. It's not okay to actually be in love with them.
Don't get married, but you can leave lots of little Jedi babies everywhere.
Right. All right. So next question.
Don't raise those babies.
What are the possibilities of her being a Kenobi? And let me set this up a little bit. In order for her to be a Kenobi, that means Ben would have had to have made it and or married during his, after he left the Jedi. Well, after there was no longer a Jedi Order for all intents and purposes. If the first guy wouldn't have broken his vows, would Ben have? Would Obi-Wan have?
Well, it's already been
I
said.
don't remember him ever being interested in anybody in any version of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, see, that's
Yes,
the
he was.
point.
Canonically, he does have a love interest.
Yes,
And which one?
in
Obi-Wan Kenobi did have a love interest, yes.
during the time of the Clone Wars, before Episode 3, the time between Episode 2 and Episode 3, Obi-Wan met Duchess Satine, who was the leader of the Mandalorian people, and they did have a love affair.
Okay, but is that part of canon?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's canon. Disney has announced that is canon.
It's one of the few things outside of the saga movies that actually did remain canon was the 6 seasons of the Clone Wars.
And then how does Rey become a Skywalker? Luke and a female Kenobi, or Luke and somebody else altogether?
pretty much a female, a daughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi would be the way
This
that.
is assuming Rey is a Skywalker at all.
It's assuming. It's speculation. That's how I believe you would get both. I think as much as a lot of people would think it's a cop out, I think Rey has to be a Skywalker. Especially because of how powerful she is.
Kylo is someone.
Kylo's a Solo. I mean, okay, yeah, he's the daughter of Leia, but we need somebody who actually carries the name Skywalker.
But I don't know that that's going to be a sticking point, actually carrying the name. I think it's the bloodline. Because clearly they've demonstrated that the ability to manipulate the Force, all of that is through the bloodline, not, it's not necessarily through the name.
All right, Chris, do you mind if we take a poll here?
If we do what?
Let me ask you a question. Let's take a poll here, if you don't mind.
Oh, a poll.
All
Okay.
right.
I thought you said, can we take a poo here? It's like, no, I did that before the show, but we're all right, yeah.
All right, let me see if I can do this in alphabetical order. All right, starting with Charles. Do you think Rey is a Skywalker, a Kenobi, both, or none of the above? Is Charles still there?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
We
Okay.
can hear you now.
Hello? Oh, you can hear me now? Okay, I was talking before and guess nobody heard me. I don't know what was going on here. I still have an issue with Shmi Skywalker, the mom.
Shmi Skywalker?
Yeah, that's just how we pronounce it. How she got pregnant. I wonder if that is going to come back.
Well, there's been a lot of theories about it. Obviously, the most obvious one is that the plain and simple, what George Lucas presented, which was the Jesus moment. The midichlorians put a baby in her belly, and that was the end of it. Of course, the other theory and speculation was that Palpatine actually manipulated the midichlorians to create Anakin. So, in a sense, you can almost say Palpatine was the father of Anakin. Trying to create the chosen one from...
How about this who we don't know is the one you just mentioned, the Prude, the one who looks like a peach that...
Snoke?
Snoke, yeah. I wonder if he has anything to do with the whole thing, a backstory, a history that might include way back there.
I think he does have a back history because he even in the novelization of The Force Awakens, Snoke has stated that he watched the rise and fall of the Empire, the rise and fall of the Sith Order, and stuff of that nature, which means he's very, very old. And he knows the mistakes of Vader and Palpatine and everything of that nature. I think...
So he is a new character. He's not anyone that we might recognize from before?
No, I think Snoke, especially from the new Thrawn book, I think Snoke is what Thrawn was warning about threats coming from the unknown regions of space, outside the outer rim of the galaxy. I think Snoke is going to be a new threat to the galaxy that has been foreshadowed in a lot of the new canon novels. But I don't think there's going to be a tie-in with Snoke. Everybody expects him to be like Darth Plagueis or something of that nature, some sort of recognizable character from the old Republic or from the old extended universe. I don't think so. I think Snoke is going to be literally what he is, Snoke. And Snoke will be a threat that comes from something we have never seen before.
I think there's no. I think the wow moment isn't going to include the fact that we're going to find out that Rey or Volcano is anyone more than that's already been said. They are, who they are as far as heritage. I think the big wow moment is going to be where they turn, or how they turn back. I don't know if they want to complicate matters worse by, oh no, he's not really, her daughter or his son. Mess that up a little bit.
Well,
I think Rey is Luke's family, and Kalo is definitely Leia's son. And who knows? They may get together. I don't know. They too much up in the air, and I think I'm going to enjoy any twist that they throw at me.
all right. Dan?
If I don't like it, there's always Star Trek. So.
Well, let's put it this way: the worst I could say for The Last Jedi is at least it won't be Star Trek Discovery.
And on our next topic,
come to the dark side. We don't have all access.
Ouch.
We just don't have it in the budget. We got to build another Death Star.
Exactly. Christen, what do you think?
Discovery needs to encounter the Death Star. I think that there are a lot of theories out there, and that it could be absolutely any of them right now. I hope that she's a Kenobi in some way, because I'm just really not a fan of the idea of her being Luke's child or offspring or anything like that. I feel like it would just continue with the pattern of really obvious that made me dislike Force Awakens. So my hope is she's a Kenobi in some way. I definitely think she'll dance around the dark side, even if she doesn't completely turn. So I think that this one's going to be better than the first one.
TV show, Dancing with the Jedi.
Nicole, do you think she's Rey's a Kenobi, a Skywalker, both, or neither?
Neither.
Okay. Why neither?
I think neither, simply because, in the previous films, or at least canonically, it used to be Anakin was considered, like this great potential savior of the Jedi Order, simply because he was powerful. And I think they're trying to do the opposite, where, rather than someone who's powerful naturally, they're going to go with someone who is very disciplined naturally and gains power for the right reasons, instead of just lobbing, their glass cannon wherever they feel it's useful at the time. So I think they're going to do that as a contrast, rather than go off of any great bloodline, this idea that greatness can come from a very, very humble beginning.
Okay.
I think that would make more sense with the story, honestly.
Okay, so we have one vote for Kenobi, one vote for a Skywalker clone, one vote for neither. Chris, if you don't mind me putting in my 2 cents, I personally think that Rey is the secret love child of Kirk and Spock.
That is illogical.
Neither then by default. Okay.
I think you were right that Rey is a clone, although I think you got the wrong person that she was cloned. I don't think it was Luke. I think it was either Kirk or Spock. They flipped the DNA. In all honesty, I think the key to who Rey is was 2 comments that were made, one in real life and one in that trailer. When the person playing Rey said, thank you, said, I told you I was shit with names.
Who are you again? I don't remember.
I don't remember. It's like DC, Pops, or I don't know, Marvel, I'm not sure. I think one of the keys is going to be, Chris, what you said, in that she said, obviously she knows, or she thinks it's very obvious that it's already out there. But I think another one of the clues is when Luke said, and I'm going back to this again, I've seen this type of power once, and it didn't bother me, and now I'm seeing it again, and it is. So he's comparing her to somebody. And I think that that's one of the keys. I also think that in an interview, didn't Mark Hamill himself kind of allude to the fact that Rey really was his daughter?
Mark is very, very, very known for trolling the fans. He knows how to play on words because he's done the same thing with John Boyega. I love him like a quote-unquote son. Yeah, and stuff like he plays with the fans and their emotions. He's the master of it. You know, so it's hard to take what Mark Hamill says at face value, especially when he puts it in a tweet. You know, because he will screw with you for the fun of screwing with you.
Okay.
Yeah, he will.
Well, then going back to the scene, the end scene in the seventh movie, did you guys? Do any of you guys think it was a little odd that he did not seem surprised that Rey showed up?
The impression I got from the
because Jedi's have vision, so I don't think that's odd.
Well, see, I never got the impression that he was surprised, but I got a very remorseful like he was expecting it, and the only thing about it was like, crap, this means I can't stay out of it anymore.
That's exactly what I thought.
Vacation's over. That's what that look was. My vacation's over.
You know, I mean, you know, she obviously was looking at him for, pardon the pun, a new hope, and he was looking at her like, shit, I have to get involved now. I mean, that's what I took from that, you know. I don't know. I think, and it's one of these situations where I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're not going to be as happy with all the different speculations and possibilities that we're coming up with as what the actual answer is going to be. And I hope I'm wrong.
That's my fear too, is that the answer is going to end up not being as good as what the fans have come up with.
But you know what? The question still remains. Even if it winds up being something as simple as she's just simply Luke's daughter or something of that nature, is that going to be such an impactful thing that it'll ruin the whole entire movie? Or will it just be like, that's a cliff note, there's more important shit going on?
Depends on the writing for the rest of it. That's a question we can't answer until we see it.
Right. And the embargo.
Because they're hinging. Yeah, and it also depends on how much they hinge the plot around her parentage. So there's no way to answer that question.
I think the only real importance of the parentage of Rey and why it has become such an issue is because everybody's afraid that she's kind of a Mary Sue after the Force Awakens, where she was this, like Nicole said, she was this humble beginning character who all of a sudden just mastered her ability in the Force like that. You know, she's doing Jedi mind tricks and using a lightsaber and fighting a skilled lightsaber battle against somebody who was trained in the arts and stuff of that nature. Like, you know, the reason the speculations of her parentage are there are simply because how do you explain off how powerful she is?
The reason they're there is that they put the seeds for that conversation to happen in the movie.
Right.
I mean, they wanted people to question that. So it's clearly going to, at some point, be some sort of plot point.
But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of great theories out there. I do personally believe that she's going to wind up being connected to the Skywalkers in some way. How or why, whether Kenobi lineage or whatever is involved in it, I don't know. But I believe she's going to be connected to the Skywalkers in some way by the end of the day. She could very well be a Palpatine. That's a theory that's been going around forever. She could be like the great-granddaughter of Sheev Palpatine, the Emperor. Yeah, you know, and maybe Luke dumped her off when he found her, or somebody did, you know, to keep her from finding out her own lineage. Who knows? But I definitely think in the end, she's going to have some sort of connection to the Skywalker lineage.
And here's the thing I want to re-bring up, because I think Nicole hit on it. But, I mean, her name, Rey, the fourth episode was called New Hope, and I'm wondering, and this is The Last Jedi, I'm wondering if we continue the name thing, that she doesn't wind up being the last ray of hope for the rebellion. I mean, is that too obvious or no?
Considering that the character's original name was Kira, before they finally settled on Rey, I don't think they were thinking that far ahead. However, after they did all the changes and wrote out the story, it doesn't mean that JJ didn't have that in mind. Because in the end of the day, this whole entire trilogy, even though this is Rian Johnson, this whole entire trilogy was written by J.J. Abrams. And Lawrence Kasdan. The only person that knows the answers to every single one of these questions is J.J. Abrams.
And that's just scary on a whole new level.
Well, that's my biggest fear of this trilogy is, like, JJ, as great of a director as he is, and I give him his props. I give him his props for the Star Trek reboots, with the exception of the lens flares. I give him his props for writing great, great stories. Problem with JJ is, because of Lost, I don't think he knows how to end a story.
Right.
And that is my biggest fear of this trilogy.
I think he tries to create surprises, but gives it away too often. Like, tries to create surprises and then, like, basically has spelled it out in Neon Lights for you by the end so that it loses that impact and that surprise. That's my problem with JJ. I think he's got a lot of talent, but I think writing-wise and storytelling-wise, that's a weak point for him.
I think two of the people on this panel are better storytellers than he is.
I like that. I like this stuff. I'm just going to jump on and assume I'm one of them.
On a personal side note, because we are reaching the end of the first hour here, by the way.
Okay.
On a personal side note, next Wednesday we are going to have a sit-in special guest who has never been heard or seen on any of the Breaking the Fourth Wall episodes, but has been seen at least once on America's Pop Culture magazine, all the way back in season 1. Yes, my girl Jen will be home on vacation and joining us next week for the next episode of Breaking the Fourth Wall.
Oh.
Not
that's exciting.
Yeah, so it'll be an episode of pretty much let's all rag on Chris as much as possible. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get to our movie picks of the week. Nicole, Charles, with your first times being on Breaking the Fourth Wall, we usually end the episodes with choosing a movie from a particular genre that I'll announce in a second here, that we want our listeners to go out and check out during that week before the next episode, whatever the case may be. Just something we recommend from our own personal likes or choosings, within a particular genre. Like last week we were giving ours with like our movie pick of the week was like Mel Brooks films, stuff of that nature, or something like that. So this week, in honor of Star Wars, but not Star Wars itself, because we've already done the Star Wars before, I'm just going to turn around and say, movie pick of the week, a particular sci-fi or fantasy movie.
Including fantasy?
Yes, I made Kristen happy. I said fantasy. Which means her answer is The Hobbit. No.
That's fighting words. I'm sorry.
I do have my answer, though.
Go ahead.
Willow.
Excellent.
Directed by Ron Howard. I think George Lucas at least helped with the writing on that. Fantastic movie. Some of the special effects are a little dated, but it is so good. The story is fantastic.
Willow is exactly the reason why I have hope for the Han Solo movie now that Ron Howard is helming it. Willow was a collaboration with Ron Howard and Lucasfilm, with George Lucas involved, and now we're going to go back into a George Lucas franchise with Lucasfilm and Ron Howard. It gives me a lot of hope. So, excellent choice.
They're a good team.
Dan, giving our new people a chance to think about it. Dan, your choice for the week.
I don't know, from any time, any genre?
Uh-huh. Well, not any genre, sci-fi or fantasy.
Well, that's kind of where I live, so I don't know. I don't know. See, because we were having a conversation about life force when it was just you, me, and Charles the other day.
Yeah.
Movies that you have to go see for one reason or the other, and Life Force keeps on coming in my brain. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but I'm going to go with Life Force this week.
Okay. Charles?
Blade Runner.
Ah, the original Blade Runner with the new one coming out.
The original Blade Runner. Well, it's already out, so I'm going to go see it tomorrow. So that one has been on my mind, and I've rewatched it, and it's an incredible movie. Tone, the direction, the setting. It's just a movie that, to me, is just like just as good as it was when I first saw it. 17 years ago, I think.
Well, it gets better with each re-release of it. The special edition, the director's edition, the uncut director's edition, the super uncut director's special edition.
Yeah, I bought the set with everything in it. So I've seen them all. And actually, I like the original that came out with the narration.
Mm-hmm.
There was something gumshoe about it that I really enjoyed, and that one I think was the best one.
All right, and Nicole.
Unfortunately, they're saying.
No, sorry. Go ahead. Unfortunately, what?
Unfortunately, I just read that the new movie isn't doing very well, which I expected because a little bit too much, too intellectual for today's audience. But I think Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner, didn't do so well either. So.
No, it became a cult classic.
Yeah, it became a cult classic.
Yeah.
Well, who's to say that the new Blade Runner 2049, I think it is, or something of that nature.
2049.
Who's to say that won't become a cult film as well?
Yeah.
Did Nicole answer yet?
Nope, Nicole, your movie pick of the week.
Even though it's a little bit on the heavier side, and I'm not sure if I would call which is it more sci-fi or fantasy, I'd say Cloud Atlas.
I don't even know that one. Go ahead.
Cloud Atlas actually has a lot of big names in it, like Hugo Weaving, Halle Berry, I think Tom Hanks. And it's basically a story throughout times and different lives and reincarnations, where there's a futuristic setting in like Victorian England, a whole bunch of other time frames where it's just people reliving different lives and how they're all connected.
Okay.
So I remember that movie very, very much.
Oh, okay. My pick of the week. I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with a '80s classic, The Last Starfighter.
Oh yeah.
Now, yeah, like Kristen said with her movie pick, the special effects are extremely dated. So fair warning, if you're looking for Oscar-worthy effects and sounds, you're not going to get it. You're going to get something that looks more like it came from the Atari 2600. However, it is the story of a trailer park kid who dreams about getting his life in order and getting out of the trailer park. And he winds up one night beating this record on a video game of Space Battle, which later on he discovers is a test to find the galaxy's greatest pilot, to be a starfighter pilot, to be able to save this race of people from the evil empire of this guy named Zurg. And it's a wild goose chase of a fish out of water, winding up becoming an unlikely hero and saving an alliance against an evil galactic empire. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm. I remember that. It's been years since I've seen. I'm going to have to make a point to watch that movie this week because it's been years since I've seen that, and I remember liking it when I was little.
Did you guys see? I think it was called Ender's Game.
I have not, but I've been making a point to sit to.
Ender's Game is basically that story, just revisioned. Okay, and I want to say Harrison Ford's in it, but I'm not sure if that's right.
In Ender's Game, yeah, he is.
Ender's Game. Okay, yeah, Ben Kingsley, Harrison Ford, very good. I was very surprised that was a good movie.
Yeah, because there's just certain movies. I mean, if we were to do a top 10 of not just popular movies, but sci-fi movies that influenced other movies, and we've talked about this before, but for Star Trek, it would have been Forbidden Planet. If it wasn't for Forbidden Planet, there wouldn't have been a Star Trek. For Star Wars, I've talked about the movie before. It's a French movie that just came out.
Star Trek.
What's that?
The Star Trek?
The Love Star Trek? No.
Star Trek. You said it was a French movie.
Yeah. I don't remember I always forget the name of the movie, but it just came out. It bombed, but it was based on a French comic book from the 70s. A lot of the stuff in Star Wars is from these comic books.
Oh, Valerian.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
City of a Thousand Worlds or something.
And even though the movie just came out, if it wasn't for the comic books that movie was based on, there wouldn't be a Star Wars. For the Last Starfighter, if it wasn't for the Last Starfighter, there would not be an Ender's Game. I'm very much convinced about that. And there's two other movies that I think had an impact, but I don't think are as obvious. The Fifth Element and Serendipity, which is the end of the Firefly TV series.
Oh, you're talking about Serenity, not Serendipity.
Serenity, not
Serenity. I always get those two confused. See, I told you I'm horrible at names. Yes, Serenity.
Well, see, my choice, I was flip-flopping while you guys were doing your movie picks of the week. I was really flip-flopping between The Last Starfighter or another very, very huge cult classic, which was really a sleeper hit, which was Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. in Enemy Mine.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Mm-hmm. That was an absolute great science fiction film, and also a great social experiment, if you will, of two enemies with a language barrier learning to coexist and care for one another. So important moral messages. Maybe we can learn that in today's world.
Dennis Quaid.
What? A movie that has a moral compass?
A powerful, real note. You think sci-fi, now you're ending it on this, poignant, we can make peace.
Well, the one thing about sci-fi and fantasy is that it inspires a mythos type and folklore type fan following. Well, what is mythology and folklore other than moral stories to affect your true life?
Yep.
The one thing with that combined genre, but more so fantasy, is that it's timeless. It will never get outdated or old the way, let's say, contemporary fiction might get old, 50 years, 100 years from now. Jane Austen, as wonderful as she is, she's not as relevant in today's society as she was back then. And it's going to continue to be the same. Fantasy and sci-fi, however, have special hallmarks in history because if things haven't happened yet, then they inspire to make things happen. The ideas and the notions and the motifs, they will always be fresh because they are perpetually timeless.
Well, we could definitely continue this thought process because I can, with Dan's permission, I could definitely lead off lead off a statement on based off of what Nicole just said, as far as Star Wars or Star Trek's influence in the real world. But on that, Dan, where can they find you if they want to talk to you?
Are you starting with me? As always, Dan, Facebook, Dan Lauria. So it's I think I want to say, in order to find me first instead of the other Dan Lauria from the Wonder Years, I'm not him. I think it's actually Facebook/Dan.Lauria, LAURIA .33. I believe that's the actual address.
There you go.
Alrighty then.
Nicole.
Yes.
Where can the fans contact you if they'd like to get a hold of you?
I do have a Facebook page. Just Niki Martensen, author. You can look me up under there. I'll pop up pretty quick. If not, you can look me up easily by typing in my name followed by Ghost Walker, which is the name of the first novel that I wrote. And I should ping up pretty quick.
Well, there you go. Well, you definitely got to have a sit down between you and Christen, and have a book night with you two, and let the authors talk. Christen, where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook, both through my personal account, which is Christen Stovell, and they can also go to the book trilogy page, which is a better way to get a hold of me if I don't know them outside of this, and that's Song of Souls Trilogy, and it's on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, and you can find me on Star Wars The Old Republic. I would give the server, but that's all going to be changing soon because they're merging servers, so that's where you can find me.
And Charles, where can they find you if they want to hear some good jokes about Shatner's toupee? Oh, wait, wrong guy.
Well, there's my personal account, which is Charles Britto, Britto, and my own book would be more of a graphic novel. I have a page for that, which is Star Trek Picard the Pirate. So that's pretty much both places that I can be found.
Wait, you have a graphic novel about Picard being a pirate?
Yeah.
Why would Dan? You are slipping in your old age. Why is this now only coming to my attention?
Because he said he's working on it. I don't want to jinx the thing.
I don't think I told Dan. I don't think I told Dan either.
Well,
maybe you did. We were talking about it. I don't think we're talking about it on the air. I think we're talking about it when we're just on the phone together. Yeah.
Fine.
All right, well, I feel special then because Breaking the Fourth Wall just gave you an exclusive scoop. We are going to be getting a graphic novel about Picard the Pirate. And after
he's finished that, Charles is going to make cartoon characters, all of our Academy Earth characters.
Oh, scary. And, of course, you can find me anywhere on Realm of the Mist, of course, doing reaction videos now since I did my first one and only that I've done. The breaking Realm of the Mist breaking news. You'll find me guesting on Talking Trek, which is hosted by Mr. Dan Lauria, as well as America's Pop Culture Magazine. You can always find me here on Breaking the Fourth Wall, sometimes on War of the Stars, and some of the other great entertainment that can be found not only on the Realm of the Mist YouTube channel, but on realmofthemist.com. Guys, thank you very much. I will catch you next week. And Realm of the Mist, Realm of the Mist, Radiocast FM. Stay tuned because coming up next, Talking Trek. We'll catch you in a few minutes. And we are